we have a problem here in the West, in the South Asian community, and those are guys like this. You know who I'm talking about, Vivek, those guys, Reform. They have a huge thing of being right-wing populist grifters, and I'm here to explain why.
How can you represent the constituents of Ohio who are 64% Christian if you are not a part of that faith? If you are an Indian, a Hindu, coming from a different culture.
Now hear me out on this. Most South Asians are normal, hardworking citizens, but there's a select few who enjoy those elite privileges while dividing other communities and minorities. You see them hopping off far-right immigration parties and also anti-diversity rants, and you always wonder, like, how did they come to this? Is it just self-hatred or something far deeper than that? But first we have to define what type of movement this actually is. You may hear a lot of terms like alt-right or right-wing populism, and there's a big difference. Alt-right are like those basement dwellers, white nationalists who you'll only see on Twitter and stuff. But these guys, right-wing populists, is what you're seeing in the political course in places like the US and UK, with things like the Reform UK or the Republicans under MAGA right now. For the far-right populist parties, these guys are the perfect poster boys, basically. They can hype up their anti-immigrant racist stance by being like, oh, look at our model minority right here. He can do everything, so we're not racist. And it can appease some of those more moderate voters who end up joining that party. And they're like a godsend for them, basically. That's why you'll hear things like this a lot.
Want to deport the children of illegal immigrants.
I said the entire family unit.
You said you want to deport the entire family unit of undocumented immigrants.
Yes.
Or in the UK, guys like this. I know, as a brown guy, it makes my skin crawl, seeing guys like this being so easily used, but there's a reason to do it. The first thing is the whole model minority myth. You know, the thing, if you work hard, you can do anything and all that. It's a myth because certain races and groups don't have the same opportunities that others do. But since South Asians, especially in the US, they grow up with more privileges and they want to keep those privileges, that class they have. It's because they themselves want to be in that group or be accepted into that group, that privileged group, and they think that by aligning themselves with that, they can become more into it and more accepted, even though at the end of the day they'll never be. But for them, it's like a thing where they can just put another group down and put themselves up. That's why you'll see guys like Vivek really emphasize that model minority myth, because they can use it as a tool to explain why they're like that. And also it just reduces the cohesion between minorities by being like, oh, these immigrants aren't like you, you're the model one, so we have to take a tough stance on these guys and then not you.
We will have the largest mass deportation in American history. That is not racist or xenophobic.
I saw this great video about this guy, and he explained how Hindutva and guys from those upper caste people in India who migrated to the places like US and UK first because they had the privileges of being able to attain education back in India to get those qualifications. And these guys who come from those upper castes, they really believe that whole casteism, how their place is above other castes, and they bring that over here, and they align a lot with white nationalists or Zios, because that whole thing about being that superior group, it resonates with them. And that's why you see a lot of guys like Vivek who come from those backgrounds really lean into those right-wing populist movements. That's why you'll see a lot of Hindutva guys in the UK more on the right. And by the way, Hindutva isn't Hinduism, it's Hindu fundamentalism, which is more political than about the religion itself. Same as Islamic fundamentalism, which is like in Afghanistan. So those are the differences. You don't associate the religion with those types of political leanings. Look at the things happening in the UK right now, those far-right riots. We'll see one or two Sikh guys dancing along, being like, I'm a British guy, trying to really assimilate into that, even though we all know they will never accept him. But they just use him as a poster boy, take selfies with him, be like, oh, you're real British, mate.
I am Herman from London.
London is already fallen. But we need to save rest of the country.
And they do that because to them, it seems like they're less racist when they see another brown dude doing it. And guys like this, they make my skin crawl, honestly, because the stuff they did to our people, and you're now defending those same types. I don't know what to say about that, but it shows that internalized racism a lot of them have, where they never felt safety in their group, so they try to assimilate as in they try to become these like far right wing populist guys, because in the hopes of being accepted by those few people and scaling up the social ladder in those groups.
You know, I took asylum in this country around 30 years ago. I ran from Afghanistan, I came to this country, I asked for asylum with my family. I ran away from the danger from there. And today, that danger followed me here. You are not aware of that danger. You are not, I am. You are going to forget the grooming gangs, these Pakistani grooming gangs, you're going to forget them. Why? Because they know the law and they played with the law and they did everything accordingly and they buy the corrupt policemen, consulars, politicians.
As an American, British desis are so different from us. I went to London, I explored there a lot, and I just saw how different it was. People stay in their own groups more, and just more you're in your own group. And some of them, they have a lot of like racism against brown people there. I say even more so than the U.S. Just the way they have a racial slur just for Pakistani people. When I went there, I did not know that. I went to London like a year ago and a year before then, and I was shocked. I was like, we have our own racial slur, that whole PAKI. I was like, oh my god. That was shocking. But since they were there a lot longer than in the US, because the whole Asian Exclusion Act in the US prevented a lot of desis from coming into there until the 60s, 50s, 60s. There were some, but very few. But in the UK, though, they've been there for generations now. And that whole anti-immigrant stance, it really focuses on them. And certain groups feel like if they stand with those side with the oppressors, they can be treated better than the other group. It's all at the expense of one group. But it's starting in the US now too, and we're starting to see it with guys like Vivek or these guys, and it's just so sad to see. But at the end of the day, this is bad news for all of us, because using these guys as the model minority myth, it just creates more division. And in order to fix that, we have to realize these right-wing populist groups, they don't see us as different, the model, or better. They see us as tools that they can use to keep their own class at top. Just look at the rise of the anti-Indian hate going on in the US and the UK. And a lot of brown people from other countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, they contribute to that. And what they don't realize is they're really just talking about all of us, all South Asian brown people. But since they want to score cheap points and be like, haha, joke's on you, they go with it and contribute to that rising anti-Indian hate going on here in the States, not knowing that they're just making it worse for all of us, all Pakistanis, Bengalis, Sri Lankans, Nepalis, all of them, because they think they can tell a difference between us. And I don't care how much you be like, oh, we look different, completely different. No, we don't look that different. Come on now. And Afghanistan is in South Asia. Before you start typing in that, it's literally like, look it up. It's in South Asia. But since they see all that South Asian hate, they be like, a lot of Afghanis be like, no, we're Central Asian. Come on now. Like, it's literally everywhere. But anyways, at the end of the day, we gotta really look at this for what it is. Right-wing populist parties using a certain group to advance their own policies and their own anti-immigrant stances and really entrench their class supremacy. And at the end of the day, what we have to do is just be more united as minorities, as more people who work for working class people, not just elitists. At the end, I want you to really think, what really defines your beliefs? What do you have? Are you driven by hate, division, or do you want a more better future for everyone, not just the ones at top? Drop your comments and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and peace.